Who lives in a pineapple under the sea and is bound to make Nickelodeon tons of money? You should all know the answer by now. Spongebob Squarepants, that is correct. Hello everybody, I am Blake, and are you ready, kids, for a review about your beloved yellow sea sponge and his latest leap onto the big screen? Without any more delay, let's get right into this review, and just to quickly clarify, these are indeed my personal opinions, and may not reflect Elijah's or Jonathan's, so keep that in mind. Like many other SpongeBob fans I spoke to, I had very skeptical feelings towards the announcement of the latest movie for SpongeBob when it was first announced and given a trailer. It just seemed very bizarre, even for a character like SpongeBob. 3D animation, superhero identities, apocalyptic bikini bottom, Antonio Banderas? Nonetheless, I tried to keep an open mind and be optimistic. I mean, who knows, this movie could be hilarious and even better than the first movie, which I to this day cannot help but love. After watching the trailers and having some more patience, it finally arrived, and on Friday, February 6th, me and my brother, being longtime SpongeBob fans, drove to our local theater, paid for our 3D glasses and tickets, bought our concessions, took our seats, and sat through all 93 minutes of the SpongeBob Squarepants movie, Sponge Out of Water. So, after devouring the popcorn and watching the credits roll, how does this movie stack up? Well, at least in my opinion. Let's get down to the bare bones here. To start, let's talk about the things that I enjoyed about this movie. Firstly, the movie looked pretty great. As I stated previously, I watched the movie in 3D, and it was pretty awesome. The usual animation style from the cartoon looked really great and had a surprisingly good use of depth. The characters seemed to pop out amongst the backgrounds, and not in the lame, "ooh, it's like I can touch them" kind of way. When the characters transitioned into 3D animation, I was pleasantly surprised. The characters actually looked good. The animation was pretty top-notch stuff. The models looked great, and it was very pleasing to look at. The 3D made the movie look a bit cleaner, and I enjoyed the movie from a visual standpoint. Secondly, the voice acting was pretty awesome. All the voices from the original cast are here and accounted for, along with some inclusion from other amazing voice talents like Nolan North, Rob Paulsen, and Kevin Michael Richardson. The voice actors seem to be giving their best here, and that's great to hear. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have to say that is positive about this movie. From here on, the movie is only going to appeal to younger audiences who are looking for some good old family entertainment. But to the longtime SpongeBob fan like myself, well, let's get into that, shall we? So, that probably raises the question, what about this movie makes it, to put it lightly, less than acceptable? For starters, the way the story is told. The story itself is pretty much SpongeBob and the gang trying to retrieve the Krabby Patty's secret formula from Burger Beard, played by Antonio Banderas, who wants the formula to make the best burger ever and become rich. The plot itself isn't necessarily bad. It's a childish little plot that is to be expected from a movie about a talking yellow sea sponge. The plot itself is not the problem. The way the plot is told, however, is a complete and utter mess. The movie has no focus whatsoever. The characters have a goal, sure, but the way they try and achieve it is terrible. I don't necessarily want to spoil anything, but this movie throws everything and the kitchen sink at you. This movie makes SpongeBob do all sorts of bizarre things that were not shown in any of the trailers I saw, and it is just so weird, even for SpongeBob, and that is saying something, ladies and gentlemen. The storytelling feels like the writers didn't know what to do with the story and just decided to throw every single idea they had on their big long list into the movie and hope for the very best, which is pretty disappointing. I don't understand why the writers felt the need to do that. Why not take one of the many ideas it had throughout the film and expand on it? To be honest here, guys, my favorite part of this movie was when the gang managed to arrive on dry land for the first time as 3D animated designs, just like we saw in the trailers. These parts had some great moments, and this portion of the film actually managed to draw out the most laughs out of me. But when the whole superhero thing comes into play, and I guess this is where the whole quote-unquote action happens in the film, but honestly, it's so randomly placed that I feel there's no reason for it to even be in the film except to make people laugh. I counted multiple times where it did not feel like I was watching a SpongeBob movie, but just a sloppy mess with the cast from the show. I honestly think that this was made just for the excuse of having another SpongeBob movie. I don't really feel like the writers put much effort into the story. It just does not feel that way to me. Beyond that, some aspects of the movie are just completely unreasonable and unnecessary. Like the main theme of the cartoon. Yeah, somehow in this film they managed to ruin the main theme of SpongeBob. Color me impressed. How do you even do that? The comedy isn't hilarious either. It was funny for sure, and I had a few solid laughs, but mostly chuckles came out of my mouth. I didn't go into this film expecting to die laughing or anything, don't get me wrong, but I couldn't help but feel indifferent towards the jokes in this film. I understand that it is really difficult to make good comedic dialogue in situations, but this is SpongeBob we're talking about here, so I don't know. It just felt like the jokes were dumbed down significantly for the film, and that bothers me personally. Beyond all that, there really isn't too much left to say about the movie without going in depth. I'd rather give the movie time to simmer before I do that, though, considering I'm curious to see how the ratings will change throughout the movie's life in the theaters, and I also want to see what Jonathan, Elijah, Daniel, and you guys have to say about the movie. At the end of the day, guys, kids will love it, but longtime SpongeBob fans will most likely be unsatisfied with the results. I could be wrong, but I guess only time will tell on that one. Guys, the first SpongeBob movie wasn't anything Oscar-worthy or anything like that, but I'd be lying if I said that Sponge Out of Water was more entertaining than the first movie. If Nickelodeon and Paramount ever plan to have another SpongeBob Squarepants film, I sincerely hope that it does not follow this movie's footsteps in terms of writing, and hopefully crafts a more enjoyable experience. The animation was top-notch, but the writing? Not a chance. With all that said, I can only recommend this movie to SpongeBob fans who are curious and little kids looking for a laugh, but I'm willing to bet that they already went to go see it. Don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not trying to say that I hate this movie or I think it's terrible or awful and it shouldn't exist or anything like that. The best way to describe how I feel about this movie is that I'm just disappointed, really. Don't go away thinking that I hate this movie. Please don't do that. I don't hate this movie. I can't hate this movie. It's SpongeBob. That about concludes this review, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you enjoyed it, even though I was pretty disappointed about the film. Oh well. 2015 has only just begun, and we still have Avengers, Inside Out, Ant-Man, and many other stories to be told as we continue on through the year. Before you go, though, don't forget to go down below to the comment box and let me know what you thought of the SpongeBob movie if you saw it, or what you think of the SpongeBob cartoon, or what you think of this very review. I always appreciate constructive criticism. With all that said, thank you for watching, have a great day, don't forget to feed your pet snail, enjoy your Krabby Patty, and we'll see you soon. Take care.